Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
A Spitting Image. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
Anna Maria Grossholtz was born on December 1st, 1761 in Strasbourg, France. Young Anna Maria would never know her father, Joseph Grossholtz, who was killed in the 7 Years' War just 2 months before she was born. When she was 6 years old, Anna Maria's mother, Anna Marie, got a job as a wealthy housekeeper at the home of a doctor named Philippe Curtius, which took the family to Bern, Switzerland. Curtius was skilled at wax medical modeling and took young Anna Maria under his wing. He initially used his talent to illustrate anatomy, but he later used it for art, namely portraits and busts. Uncle Curtius, as Anna Maria called him, moved to Paris in 1765 to establish a Cabinet de Portraits and Cire, in English, a wax portraiture firm. That same year, he got his big artistic break when he was hired to make a wax statue of Louis XV's last mistress, Madame du Barry, in a casting titillatingly called Sleeping Beauty. What can I say? Pre-revolutionary France was a time of excess. Interestingly enough, to this day, Sleeping Beauty is the oldest waxwork currently on display, now exhibited at Madame Tussauds in London. But I digress. A year later, in 1766, Anna Maria and her mother joined Curtius in Paris to help him in his burgeoning art fame. The first exhibition of Curtius's waxworks was shown in 1770 and attracted quite the crowd. In 1776, the exhibition was moved to the Palais Royal, and in 1782, Curtius opened a second exhibit, the Caverne des Grands Voyeurs, Cavern of the Grand Thieves in English. But more importantly than this French ex-doctor's sculpting career was, arguably, his relationship with Anna Maria. Curtius taught young Anna Maria everything he knew, after she showed interest, and then talent, and then technique in his craft. Eventually, Anna Maria began working for Curtius as a professional artist. In 1777, she created her first wax figure of Voltaire, very French. From 1780 until the Revolution in 1789, Anna Maria did what we know her to do now, what we know her for, create famous portraits of celebrities of the time, including, of course, Voltaire, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Benjamin Franklin. During this period, her memoirs claim she got a job teaching votive making, kind of little paintings or collage-type groupings serving as an offering to a saint, to Elizabeth, the sister of Louis XVI. At that point in her memoirs, she said she was well liked by the royal family and was invited to Versailles for 9 years to continue to make art for the royal family. This is where Anna Maria Grossholtz's story and European history really intersect. On July 12, 1789, Anna Maria was back in Paris. On that day, the revolution was brewing, a working class disillusioned by the excesses of the French monarchy and court. That day, an angry mob stole the wax busts of the Duc d'Orleans and the finance minister Necker, both made by Curtius, from their display cases at his gallery, and paraded them about the streets in a mock funeral. The real men at this point had been banished, but protesters felt the wax copies would hold a similar, powerful effect. When the mob was shot at, it marked the first real bloodletting of the revolution, a precursor to the iconic storming of the Bastille a mere 2 days later. Perceived as a royal sympathizer, which, let's be real, she probably was, Anna Maria was arrested along with Josephine de Beauharnais. I think I'm saying that right. You might know her as Josephine Bonaparte, the first wife of Napoleon, and her head was shaved in preparation for her execution via the guillotine. In her memoirs, Anna Maria said she was released thanks to actor and essayist Coyote de Herbois' support for Curtius. And knowing Curtius was Anna Maria's mentor caused the essayist to save her life. Tussauds said then that she was employed by the revolution to make death masks and whole-body casts of the revolution's most famous victims, showing the anguish and the humanity of those sacrificed for the freeing of France. The young woman's sculpting talent made these objects powerful tools of the revolution, reinforcing the violence reverberating throughout France. Soon Anna Maria was called to take a cast of the rapidly decomposing body of revolutionary Jean-Paul Marat, in addition to Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. But as successful and impactful as they were, wax casts were also inherently dangerous, as what busts and heads and sculptures were legal or illegal varied day to day, even hour by hour. As she was asked to cast the guillotined head of Robespierre, the revolution concluded. Thankful to just be alive, Anna Maria soon married engineer François Tussaud, keeping on living her post-revolutionary French life. But of course, this life was not quiet, anything but. When her mentor Philippe Curtius died in 1794, he left Anna Maria Tussaud everything he had. But her new engineer husband nearly sank her business and her inheritance with some bad financial decisions. The couple had 3 children, a daughter who died after birth and 2 sons, Joseph and Francois Jr. But as France was entering the Napoleonic era, Tussaud left Paris and her husband, whom she would never see again, for England, with a grand plan. Take her wax sculptures, so eerie in their realism and nearly literally bloodied by the revolution itself, to London. She called herself Madame Marie Tussaud, and her show, Madame Tussauds. More after the break.
Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Hi, hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
We're checking in.
This is the check-in.
You're in it.
You're in it right now.
It's too late, can't get out.
You can't ever leave.
Well, or you can absolutely
Or
leave.
leave.
Yeah, but don't leave. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. We need you more than you need us. And we know that.
That's true.
And we'll remind you every single week.
We'll never forget it.
We want to thank anyone who's listening, supporting us, spreading the good word of Ghost Town. We thank you. If you haven't reviewed and rated the show wherever you're listening, please do so.
We'd love that.
And if you do, send it, just DM us on Instagram and we'll read it on here.
Yeah.
If that's something you're into.
Yeah. Don't you like seeing your name in lights.
Yes. Very low, a flickering light,
By
barely
lights,
hanging
I mean
on.
read by us.
Yes. It's actually a blue light that's probably hurting your...
Yeah, don't fall asleep to us.
No. Don't wake up to us either.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Ugh. And, our mayors. The Ghost Town government.
The mayors.
Ooh. And interesting, they have their own ideas about what should be in Madame Tussauds.
Interesting.
Yeah, they got their own...
They have their own thoughts?
Yeah, they're like, we would like to bring our own celebrities.
They're taking it up with the management?
Yeah, and they got sway. They got sway.
Okay,
They're
come on
mayors.
in. Do you want a little bottle of water?
Suggesting a amazing replica of Meredith Baxter Burney from Family Ties. Does that sound right?
Sure.
Does that sound right? Family Ties, great show. I'm pretty sure if you're anywhere under 38, you're not going to get any of these. I'm going to guarantee that right now. And good for you.
Yeah.
And good for you. And great for you. But you know what? Little Meredith Baxter Burney from Family Ties, courtesy of Ashley Matson.
Hello.
How about a little Soleil Moon Fry? Punky Brewster.
That's a name I do recognize.
Got it. Classic, right? Classic fun.
Oh,
Brought
yeah.
Punky Brewster back. Classic episode. Punky Brewster, where Cherry gets locked in the refrigerator and almost dies.
We talk about that.
We talk about that. Do a little bit of that. Do a little bit of that. Little Soleil Moon Fry as an adult.
Okay. Like taller. Like she's like a normal size.
Yeah, like normal. Like a regular normal, just normal.
Right.
Just, you know what? And that's, that's the vibe of Cat Giselle.
Hello. I was gonna say just an average sized brunette white woman.
Yeah.
In a hat?
There's nothing average about Soleil Moon Fry.
Okay.
And who's getting modern? Who's getting modern up in here? Huh? Who's taking it up to the 21st century-ish? 20th,
Not you.
21st century? A little Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah, there's some nepotism. Yeah, you're gonna deal with it. Yeah, because it's Kelly Meehan. Time to get retro again. We were too modern.
That was too much.
And you remember this heartthrob from back in the day.
Floppy hair,
floppy
middle part.
hair, little home improvement.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Ooh, JTT.
And that would be courtesy of Casey Weber.
Hello.
You loved him in The Fugitive. You loved him in U.S. Marshals. You're going to love him in Madame Tussauds.
He's probably already there.
This is a new one. This is U.S. Marshals one, which I know they don't have. And you're going to want to thank... Yeah, because guess what? Matthew Clemens LeRae made sure of it.
Hello.
How about some 90s? You loved her in Buffy. You loved her in A Note You Did Last Summer. You loved her married to Freddie Prinze Jr. Well, you're going to love her in Madame Tussauds. Sarah Michelle Gellar. And you can thank Emma Hopkins.
Hello.
Can't have her standing there all by her lonesome. She needs her man by her side. He needs to be by her side. They come as a pair. Buy one, get one free. A little Freddie Prinze Jr., courtesy of Marissa Rothermel.
Hello. A lot of heartthrobs in here.
But our governor is like, oh, yeah? Here's one I know you don't have in there. And not only is she not going to get a wax statue, she's going to get the actual human.
Hell yeah.
That's the kind of power she wields. She's going to get the actual actor who says he's retired. But he has not met our governor. We're talking about Daniel Day-Lewis.
Holy shit.
Some say the greatest actor of our generation or of all time. Well, guess what? Now he's a human statue.
Standing there.
Just standing there because our governor, he's got that power. And that's courtesy of our governor,
Avian Noble.
If you want no ads, no chit-chat, bonus episodes, new one up now. It's dark.
It's dark as hell.
Did not enjoy editing that one. Took me a while. I was like, oh, come on. But it's up there, and there's probably another 75 bonus episodes. You can listen 7 days free. You can listen, get out. Or you can support us for $1 or $2. Or you can run for the hills. Or you can just take what you want and run for the hills.
Or you can throw your phone wherever. Throw it in a gutter.
But before you do that, head on over to patreon.com/ghosttownpod. And you want to get back into it?
Let's do it. In 1802, Tussaud went to London with her son Joseph, then 4 years old, to present her collection of wax sculptures. She had accepted an invitation from Paul Philidor, a magic lantern and phantasmagoria pioneer. I believe we did a whole episode on the wild Victorian trend of the phantasmagoria, pretty much a haunted house on drugs. I believe in our Patreon, but I'm going to check and make sure. If not, I will have one because they are fascinating. Anyway, Philidor had Tussaud exhibit her work, death masks, wax faces, and busts, alongside his show at the Lyceum Theatre in London, part of the landscape and climate of English creativity at the time. You had West End stage plays, which included the first to be called a melodrama, the first appearance of Joseph Grimaldi in his, quote, clown character, the inspiration for the modern clown today, and even poet William Wordsworth's poem, quote, composed upon Westminster Bridge, September 3rd, 1802, describing London and the Thames. At the Lyceum Theatre, Tussaud told tales of living at Versailles, being an art tutor to Louis XVI's sister and casting the king from life, and later, during the Revolution, in death. But, complaining that Philidor failed to promote her, Tussaud then decided to go into business completely alone. It was then that she left with her many casts for Edinburgh in 1803. Unable to return to France during the Napoleonic Wars, Tussaud traveled with her collection throughout the British Isles. In 1822, she reunited with her son Francois, who joined her in the family business of wax making, marketing, show business, performance, or all of the above. In November 1825, her touring exhibition of wax figures was making the rounds, a traveling show of violence and wonder. In 1835, after 33 years of touring, she headed back to London. There she established her first permanent collection on the famous Baker Street in Marylebone. In 1838, she wrote her memoirs, and in 1842, she actually made a self-portrait, which is still on display at the entrance of her London museum. Some of the sculptures done by Tussaud herself still exist here, along with some of her mentor, Philippe Curtius's work. All in all, the gallery originally contained some 400 different figures, ranging from wholesome to gruesome. Fun for the whole family, right? Well, maybe not the whole family. One of Madame Tussauds' main attractions in her museum was initially called the Chamber of Horrors. The name is often credited to a contributor in the French magazine Punch in 1845, but many believe Tussaud originated it herself, using it in advertising as early as 1843. The Chamber of Horrors included victims of the French Revolution and newly created figures of murderers and other criminals. As the museum's popularity expanded, a, quote, Hall of Fame was added, with other famous casts expanding the museum, including Lord Nelson, the Duke of Wellington, Henry VIII, and Queen Victoria. The early commercial success of Madame Tussauds saw it establish itself as a brand, and not only a showcase of incredible wax modeling and sculpture work, but the museum became a pioneer in innovating various forms of publicity, engaging with the very young advertising industry, and starting what we now call the tourism industry in London. Victorian culture loved Madame Tussauds, and, like today, inclusion in the museum was definitive proof that you had 1,000% attained celebrity status. According to a piece written in 1849 called, quote, The Tussaud Test of Popularity, quote, in these days no one can be considered properly popular unless he is admitted into the company of Madame Tussauds celebrities in Baker Street. The only way in which a powerful and lasting impression can be made on the public is through the medium of wax. You must be a doll at Madame Tussauds before you can become an idol of multitude. Madame Tussaud has become, in fact, the only dispenser of permanent reputation. After experiencing amazing success, on April 16, 1850, at the ripe old age of 88, Madame Marie Tussaud died peacefully in her sleep in London, just as the first stirrings of a new art form, the photograph, began to emerge. Writer Sam Vladimirsky summarizes this fact pretty poetically in his piece about Madame Tussauds. Quote, I like to think of this as a deliberate act, leaving us before the invention of photography could trap her. Instead, she is preserved only in wax. Other businesses on Baker Street profited from being within close proximity to Madame Tussauds, and in 1860 Charles Dickens hailed the museum as one of London's most popular entertainments, writing in All Year Round, quote, "Madame Tussauds is something more than an exhibition. It is an institution." As a little thank you, a sculpture of Dickens appeared at the museum in 1873, 3 years after his death. Winston Churchill, whose sculpture has been made over 10 times over the years, appeared in the museum in 1903. But the new century wasn't kind to Madame Tussauds. Fire damage in 1925, coupled with bombs during the Blitz on London in 1941, severely damaged most of the older models. But the casts themselves have survived, allowing the historical waxworks to be remade and seen in the museum's history exhibit. By 1883, the restricted space and rising cost of the Baker Street site prompted Tussauds' grandson, Joseph Randall, to commission construction of a building at the museum's current location on Marylebone Road. These new exhibition galleries were opened on July 14, 1884, and were even more of a hit. But Randall had bought out his cousin Louise's half share in the business in 1881, and family disagreements plus the mounting building costs made the grandchildren of Tussauds eventually sell. In February 1889, Tussauds was sold to a private equity corporation. But not to worry, Tussauds' great-grandson, John Theodore Tussaud, continued in his role as the museum's manager and chief artist. The first overseas branch of Madame Tussauds was opened in Amsterdam in 1970. From there, it expanded with branches in Istanbul, Beijing, Bangkok, Berlin, Blackpool, Sydney, Hong Kong, Wuhan, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Chongqing, Shanghai, New York City, Orlando, Nashville, Hollywood, Singapore, Tokyo, Budapest, Vienna, New Delhi, and Dubai. As of 2019, the newest museum is in Prague. In 2005, Madame Tussauds was sold to a company in Dubai for a whopping $1.5 billion and sold again in May of 2007 to the Blackstone Group for $1.9 billion. In July 2008, Madame Tussauds' Berlin branch became embroiled in controversy when a 41-year-old German man brushed past 2 guards and decapitated a wax figure depicting Adolf Hitler. While the Hitler figure had been frequently vandalized, this particular instance was believed to be an act of protest against portraying the fascist dictator alongside sports heroes, movie stars, and other historical figures. The statue has since been repaired, and the perpetrator has admitted that he attacked the statue to win a bet. In January 2016, the statue of Hitler was removed from the Chamber of Horrors section in the London Museum in response to an open letter sent by a staff writer of the Jewish Journal of Greater Los Angeles. Soon after that, on April 11, 2016, the original London Chamber of Horrors closed and was replaced by the Sherlock Holmes Experience. Boo. All in all, few really know the fascinating woman behind her ubiquitous brand. A piece by The Guardian called Madame Tussauds, The Astounding Tale of Survival Behind the Woman Who Made History, explains, quote, "But the greatest waxwork in Madame Tussauds is of Tussaud herself, a very small old woman with a large nose and chin, dressed in suitably chilling Victorian bombazine, stands guard over the rest of the wax populace. There's something mythical about her, as if she were a character from folklore or fairy tale. There's something a little cockroachy about her, too. She feels made up. She seems like a story. And yet she isn't. She's real. Madame Tussauds built an industry for her work from the very, very beginning. The idea of replicating a person in wax, completely life-size, is uncanny, bizarre, and fascinating, as if we're trying to replicate the essence of celebrity itself. Says Sam Vladimirsky, quote, "The moment in a celebrity's life that is frozen in wax says something about our generation's beauty standards and overall public perception of their career. But as a cultural phenomenon grounded in memory and history, Madame Tussauds reveals much about each generation of visitors that makes the pilgrimage. While older visitors make no effort to identify members of One Direction, Alfred Hitchcock rarely attracted the eye of a young passerby, while Audrey Hepburn's iconic tiara, Sig and Do from Breakfast at Tiffany's were less attention-grabbing than a famous mustachioed silent film star nearby. But if we've learned anything from Madame Tussauds' life and work, when it comes to art, history, and perception, really, the only constant is change."
Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.